Have you ever looked at those impossibly tiny crochet pieces and thought, how is this even possible? Or maybe you're wondering what kind of sorcery is required to pull it off without losing your mind. Today, I'm going to answer some of the most frequent questions about micro crochet that you ask me in the comments. From my favorite threads and hooks to how I manage tension and hide those annoying loose ends. Grab your coffee or crochet hook and let's get into it. What's your preferred thread? Oh, thread. I could talk about thread for hours because I've tried so many. When I first started micro crochet, I didn't overthink it. I just grabbed a spool of regular polyester thread I had lying around. But as I fell in love with this craft, I realized how much of a difference the right thread can make. Now my go-to is 50 weight thread because it's the best for creating micro crochet projects for a 1 to 12 scale dollhouses. I also work with 40 and 30 weight for slightly bulkier projects. Recently, I discovered 80 weight cotton thread from Aurifil, and I'm obsessed. It's amazing for going even smaller. When it comes to thread types, I mostly use cotton and silk because they're strong, versatile, and have a natural feel. Silk threads, like Gutermann S303 and their vintage silk, are my absolute favorite for projects that need a lot of drape. They glide through your fingers and create fabric that feels luxurious, even at a tiny scale. For most of my projects, though, I stick with cotton threads. I've tried brands like Bra Threads and Gutermann Cotton, but I keep coming back to Aurifil. Their threads have the best of both worlds, the strength of cotton and the drape similar to silk, and they come in the most beautiful range of colors. What's your favorite hook size? When it comes to hooks, size really does matter, especially in micro crochet. My go-to hook is a 0.4 millimeter, which pairs perfectly with the 50 weight threads I use. It's small enough to handle intricate details, but still comfortable to hold. Lately, I've been experimenting with a 0.35 millimeter hook for finer projects, especially when using 80 weight thread. It allowed me to go even smaller with my crochet projects. If you're just starting with micro crochet, I recommend going with a 0.5 millimeter hook or bigger until you get used to the smaller scale. Once you feel confident, you can gradually move to smaller sizes. How do you hide your ends? When you're working at a micro scale, weaving them in can feel even more daunting. My approach is to weave most of the ends as I go. This saves so much time and effort later. For the remaining ends, I use a size 12 beading needle. It's super thin and perfect for the tiny stitches. By the time I finish a blanket, I usually only have 1 or 2 ends to weave in, which is such a relief. If you're curious, I have a video where I share all my tips for this. Is micro crochet harder on your hands? Surprisingly, not at all. When I first started micro crocheting, I had no idea what to expect. Like many beginners, I gripped my hook and thread so tightly that my hands would cramp up after just a few minutes. Over time, as I became more comfortable with the tiny hooks and delicate threads, I learned to relax my grip. That said, taking care of your hands is essential, no matter what size crochet project you're working on. I make it a point to take regular breaks, usually every 20 to 30 minutes, to stretch my hands and fingers. Simple hand exercises like rolling your wrists or gently flexing your fingers can do wonders for preventing tension and fatigue. One golden rule I always follow: if you ever feel pain while crocheting, stop immediately. Pain is your body's way of saying, hey, I need a break. It's so important to listen to that signal and give your hands the rest they need. How do you stay focused on tiny stitches? This one always makes me smile because I definitely don't have the patience of a saint. In fact, I have the patience of someone managing life with ADHD. But here's the thing, you don't need saint-like patience for micro crochet. You just need strategies to keep your mind engaged and motivated. For me, one of the biggest game changers has been pairing my crochet sessions with something that keeps my mind occupied. Whether it's listening to a gripping audiobook, learning a new language, or diving into creative inspiration, having something to focus on beyond the tiny stitches is key. That's where Skillshare, the sponsor of today's video, comes in. Skillshare is an incredible online learning platform with thousands of classes on everything from painting and unlocking your creativity to tips for productivity and running your social media. It's a place where I can explore new skills and find fresh inspiration. For instance, this patchwork-inspired micro blanket I'm working on? The inspiration for it came straight from a quilting class I took on Skillshare. I was so enchanted by the beautiful patterns and color combinations of handmade quilts that I couldn't resist recreating them in micro crochet. Watching other crafters and artists share their knowledge sparks so many ideas for my projects and keeps my creativity flowing. If you're looking to explore new hobbies, sharpen your skills, or simply find creative inspiration, Skillshare is the perfect place to start. And now, the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. A big thank you to Skillshare for making this opportunity available to you. And if you're curious about more ways I stay focused while working on projects like this, be sure to check out my previous video where I share all my tips and tricks for keeping your patience intact. How do you keep your tension so consistent? Tension is one of the trickiest parts of micro crochet, and honestly, it just takes practice. I've been crocheting for nearly 20 years, so it's second nature now. I use the pencil grip with my hook because it gives me more control compared to the butter knife grip. As for holding the thread, I do it the same way I've always done since I first learned knitting and crochet. Everyone has their own way of doing this, so don't stress if yours looks different. Consistency is more important than technique, so find what feels natural and stick with it. How long does it take you to make a miniature blanket? This really depends on the complexity of the design and how many colors I'm using. A simple blanket might take a few hours, while a more intricate one can take over 20 hours. But here's the thing, the speed definitely comes with practice. So if you're just starting out, take your time and don't compare yourself to me or anyone else online, and it's okay to work at your own pace. Do you use a magnifying glass or special lighting? Having the right lighting and tools can make a world of difference when working on micro crochet projects. That's why I always crochet under a desk lamp with a strong, natural light bulb, even during the day. The bright, even lighting helps me spot tiny details and ensures that my stitches are even. For especially intricate work, I bring out my desk magnifier with a built-in LED light. The magnifier lets me see the stitches up close without having to strain my eyes or hunch over my work. Do you wear glasses, and does micro crochet strain your eyes? Yes, I wear glasses, and they've been a part of my life for years. I primarily wear them to correct astigmatism and mild nearsightedness. That said, I don't always wear them while crocheting. But as much as I love micro crochet, I have to admit that it can be a bit tough on the eyes. When you're focusing on such tiny stitches for extended periods, it's inevitable that your vision will get strained. That's why I take frequent breaks. It's so important to give your eyes a chance to rest and recover. And that's a wrap on your most asked questions about micro crochet. I hope this video inspires you to try your hand at this amazing craft. If you have more questions or tips, drop them in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone curious about the magical world of micro crochet. See you in the next video.